Good afternoon, welcome everyone. Here we are live at Eden for a little bit of Q&A on basically fish oil today. And we have a lovely Beck, one of the Eden staff, and she's going to ask me some controversial maybe, but some enlightening questions. And we're going to tackle fish oil, and this is a specific brand that I have just got at the store with the help of Lee and Shelley, and it comes from Norway. Okay, so is there anything you'd like to know about it?
Okay, so they come from Norway, so they're obviously wild caught out there. And do you know any of their origins? Like any of the background of where they're being caught from?
Yes, well, it's a small family business in Norway that goes out and catches the fish a few times a week. Okay. And they bring it in and they have a special patented process where they sustainably catch the fish wild. It's not over farmed. Okay. And they bring them into the shore and they cut them and they bleed the oil out of the livers. Okay. It's packed with a rosemary oil, so that actually gives it a shelf life because of the high vitamin E in there, and it's also put under nitrogen gas, so all the oxygen is removed from the bottle, so it keeps it very, very well. It's very fresh. Okay.
I've heard that all fish oils are pretty rancid.
Yes, well, there's a little bit of truth behind that, or a lot of truth behind that. So with the fish oil industry, what you'll find is they actually take the fish oil, and the purpose is to give it a shelf life. So what they do is they heat it, and some of the companies that I've called up will heat it to about 280 degrees. They hold it there for about 8 minutes, and what happens basically is that destroys all the nutrients in the fish oil, destroys all the enzymes, the vitamin A, the vitamin D, and then they synthetically add those vitamins back in. So typically they'll use a vitamin E as a stabilizer. All the time it'll be soybean oil. Yeah. They get the lanolin, because you're buying fish oil for vitamin D. They actually will get the lanolin from China, and they get the lanolin from the sheep's wool oil. They put that under UVB light, that makes vitamin D3. And what they do is they put that back into the fish oil. Then you have a fish oil with vitamin D back in. Many of my arguments I've had with a lot of the reps, they've stated, well, at least it's natural, and I'll say, yes, it is natural if I was buying a sheep's wool oil. Yeah. But I'm not, I'm actually buying a fish oil. Yes. So that's just vitamin D3. Now, there is a lot more. There's the EPAs, and there's the DHAs, and there's vitamin A, and there's 13 types of vitamin D. Do they put all those back in? No. So fish oil is being given a bit of a bad rap because those products are rancid and they are off, and a lot of them aren't packed under the nitrogen, and they're put into capsules, and if something goes wrong, those capsules themselves can oxidize, so like the oil's better rather than the capsules, unless it's been done very, very, very well. And with the fish oils, the main thing is all of these fish oils have been cooked. So can you uncook a fish? Can you uncook a steak?
No, obviously not.
No, so for the argument that all the nutrients are still there,
it makes no sense. They purely just stripped the whole thing and then added whatever they wanted.
Yeah, so it's a little bit like me basically taking $1 off you. Yeah. Giving you back 10 cents, and you pay me $100 for it, being happy. Right. Yeah, and coming back for more. So
I never knew lanolin went in fish oil. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So when they add synthetic vitamin, when they add the vitamin A, the big question is where is that coming from? And a lot of the companies that I called couldn't give me a clear-cut answer. It was barrels coming in from overseas, and they couldn't tell me what temperatures, what solvents, what chemicals, what even product it actually originally even came from.
Ah, okay.
So the fish oil we have here, it's 100% fish oil. It's 100% raw. It's cold pressed and it's wild, and it's also been packaged in a way that actually keeps it fresh.
Okay, and the glasses and so forth.
Yeah, totally. So when you buy it, do not open it unless it's refrigerated. Of course. So put it straight in the fridge, let it cool down for 4 or 5 hours, and then you have a little bit, and you have it with a meal. Now the main reason you have it with a meal is it increases the absorption of everything at that meal. So vitamins A, D, E and K are fat-soluble activators, and they work like little keys to turn a lock, and the fat-soluble activators increase absorptions of all other minerals, all water-based vitamins and protein. So if you want to increase the absorption of everything you're eating without even changing your diet, I recommend half a teaspoon with your 2 main meals a day.
Can you just have flax oil instead?
No. So with a plant-based form, so it's not the omega-3s. Yes, there's omega-3s in flaxseed oil and there's omega-3s in hemp and shea, but it's not the omega-3s I'm chasing, it's the vitamins A, D, E and K.
Okay.
And you'll find you do not get the vitamins A, D, E and K in those oils, and specifically not vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually an animal hormone, or it's a hormone. You can get it in a few sort of vegetable sources, but that will be ways where they've got around a little bit by feeding yeasts or things, certain vitamin Ds to get it into the yeast.
Okay. When you said just with food, is there other ways that you can do it? For example, popping it in smoothies and things like that, just other ways of adding it into your diet, or does it just have to purely have 2 teaspoons before you eat?
In all honesty, I would say
it probably tastes disgusting.
I would say whatever food you're putting into, it'll be the last time you ever eat that food.
Okay.
So do not under any circumstance put in a smoothie.
Okay.
It is pretty horrendous. I would recommend having half a teaspoon basically with maybe 2 meals of the day, primarily your biggest meals with the most nutrition to help you absorb its vitamin. So let's go breakfast and dinner. The oil, if you find you have trouble with oil, you can actually get a little syringe from the chemist, just put it in the back of the throat, have it at the first mouthful of a meal, or alternatively the capsules. Okay. Because then you won't taste it.
Okay.
And if you have it at first mouthful before basically you have the rest of the meal, you find you might not get that.
Okay, so don't have your favourite dinner. Don't line up for your favourite dinner because you'll never eat that one again.
Yeah. So maybe the capsules in that situation.
Okay. I've had fish oil before and I've not noticed much of a difference.
Yeah. So fish oil by itself doesn't really do that much. Yes, you find you can clean up your diet, you can eat really, really healthy, and that will make a little bit of a difference. If you add fish oil, yes, it is a fat soluble activator, so that will increase a little bit of the uptake of the nutrients, but you really need to add that vitamin K in there. So for example, experiments where they've done with chickens that had rickets in their knees, they showed basically their gain in weight increased by 8.7% within 12 weeks when they actually put them on a nourished diet, where they had fish oil in the diet. It went up to 16.7, and then when they added the butter oil with the fish oil, it went up to 47.7.
Wow.
So that was almost 500% better absorption of the minerals and weight gain through basically increased absorption. So very good for malnourishment, children trying to grow, or basically you find you just run down and you need more nutrition. But you find all fish oils haven't been created equal, and in all honesty, when I rang around about 5 companies in Australia, most of them are heated, or all of them were heated and all of them were processed. And the best defense I had for not heating was they said, well, it's only been done for about 10 minutes. And being a chef in an old health retreat, I'd argue that you go jump in a pot of water at 280 degrees and stay there for 10 minutes and you're not going to look too flash at the end of it. So to argue that there's no damage at all, we know that you destroy an enzyme at 55 degrees, and these little things, like why put it on the bottle? It must be stored at 4 to 8 degrees if it's been heated to 280 degrees for 10 minutes. I mean, you can take the skin off basically with the hot water at 80 or 90, so let alone a little delicate fish oil. So the key with basically taking all the nutrients out of the fish oil is it gives it a shelf life. So if I was to heat it and destroy everything in there, then there's nothing for any bacteria, for any virus, for any insects, for anything to actually eat it as a food. So if I come along and go, okay, well, I'll add in some synthetic vitamins that no animals or viruses or insects or bacteria will find as foods as well, I might get a shelf life of 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years. As been shown with certain burgers from certain fast food companies. I believe I've put these burgers outside and I've come back in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, a few years, and the burger's still there. Now, why is the burger still there? It's because nothing on earth wants to eat it.
No, thank you. How long, if I'm taking it regularly every day and twice a day with meals, how long do you reckon I would notice something within myself for benefits of?
2 to 4 weeks, you should feel some sort of change.
Okay.
I mean, in that experiment, it was done over 12 weeks, you find the increase in nutrients from from basically 8.7 to 47.7% in 12 weeks. That's massive.
Okay.
That's a massive change. So if you were to fish into something, think of it like a little bit of an empty sponge, and it needs water. And if you put water on an empty sponge, it will suck it up. So if your body is needing something, it will take it up pretty quick.
So this is probably one of the best ones, like best oils besides chia and hemp and so forth.
Yes.
To get what you need from too.
Yes. Well, yeah. So you'd use those as well as.
Yes.
So I recommend with any oil, make sure it's fresh, make sure it's cold pressed, and make sure there's organic if you can possible, and it's sustainably farmed, and also make sure there's no heat. So we want 100% cold pressed raw first extract of the oil, because a lot of the time with the second and third pressing they use solvents and chemicals, and that's what they do in the fish oil industry.
Okay.
You find that first oil that they get out of the livers is clear. The second oil, that tends to be a little bit of the brown or the yellow. They use chemicals to get it out.
Okay.
So it'll be cheaper, but basically some of these things might be through 3 stages to the last amount. They're squeezing every little last bit out they can.
And who knows what you're getting in there and where it comes from.
Yeah, so I'm going to attach a video at the end of this so you can actually see what Rosita have actually done. And there's 2, I won't mention the opposition at the moment, but there are 2 that I would trust, and I have used the other one prior till now because it had the butter oil in it, and I didn't have to add that back in with each meal. But it's very easy now to have an egg yolk with a meal, especially if you have a smoothie for breakfast. You have a teaspoon of this, and you might put a teaspoon of your cream or an egg yolk in a smoothie. Or with dinner, you can have a teaspoon of butter on your vegetables, on your mashed potatoes. Nowadays, it's pretty easy to have the both. And we've got some great butters and cheeses and dairy that contain those vitamins K2.
Okay.
Or if you're sort of going vegetarian, you could have something like an algae. So your spirulinas and your chlorellas, I would say, contain a bit of K2, especially as a product called algatine. That's an orange algae that grows in Australia. That's really high in K2. So you can get your K2s from algae.
Algae base. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have many questions. I don't have any questions actually. You kind of answered most of them in
Great.
the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you
All right.
very much,
Well,
Blair.
Yeah, thanks for your time.